Well, let's.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I've verified we have a quorum. I'm going to call the meeting to order. First thing is routine matters. Approved minutes of the executive and regular session of May 9th, 2022.
I'll make a motion.
Allison makes a motion. Becky White seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Number 2, approve an agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Becky makes a motion. Allison seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. It's almost like we're playing. Approve claims to date. Richard, Ray makes the motion. Allison seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Number 4, there's quite a few here, so give me.
Want to read them all?
Huh?
Do you want to read them all?
Do you want to read?
No, I don't want to read them. The question is, do you just want to go first to last, like because the way they're listed? Or you want to read each one individually? Go right ahead.
Well, we got an audience, so I'll read them. I'll read them for all of you. Pay close,
They're all live.
Pay close attention here. I might stop for a drink here, but approval of personnel and ECA recommendations. Donna Conrad, new hire BSc first grade resource teacher. Susan Davidson, new hire BSc teacher. We're excited about Susan. Samantha Green, new hire SHS science teacher. We're excited about all of them, but Susan's somebody that lives like walking distance from the school, so glad to have her back. Samantha Green, new hire SHS science teacher. Rebecca Consley, new hire SMS 7th grade math teacher. Amy Whitlock Hunt, new hire SHS vocational business teacher. Brendan McCartney, new hire SMS special education math teacher. Lacey Bergen, new hire instructional assistant BSc. Kristen Foreman, new hire instructional assistant BSc. Lindsay Rutherford, new hire BSc teacher. Chloe Davis, new hire BSc special education teacher. Cam Smith, resignation from BSc teacher. Ronnie Hobbs, resignation from BSc teacher. Aaron Moore, resignation from BSc kindergarten teacher. Ashley Gerald, resignation from BSc teacher. Brent Minton, resignation from SCS Director of Student Services, SCS. Shelby Smith, resignation from BSc teacher. Angela Pritchett, resignation from SMS math teacher. Blair Winslow, resignation from SCS band assistant. Becky Day, resignation from SMS late load duty at the end of 21-22. Julie Harris, resignation from BSc cafe. Andy Bruff, resignation from BSc nurse. Jennifer Lawyer, medical leave. Debbie Catlin, BSc summer school nurse. Rachel Irwin, BSc grades 1-2 summer school teacher. Ashley Williams, BSc 1 and 2 summer school teacher. Elena Davidson, rescinding her resignation from Salem Community Schools. Elena Davidson, BSc teacher. Zoma Barrett, volunteer assistant volleyball coach. Macy Gilliott, volunteer assistant volleyball coach. Kylie Brown, volunteer assistant volleyball coach. Lisa Nice, 5 extra days for equipment maintenance and cleaning. Brennan Roby, 15 extra days added to contract for counseling position. Laura Hazelip, 10 extra days to summer contract for library reorganization. Dwayne Malloy, transfer from SMS 8th grade math to SMS alternative to instruction. Gene Dallin, middle school, high school band teacher, director. Chris Catlin, transfer from SMS science teacher to SMS agriculture, science, and business teacher. Autumn Gray, transfer from SMS ACE and technology teacher to engineering and technology teacher. Bailey Evans, transfer from SMS 8th grade social studies teacher to SMS 8th grade math teacher. Angela Snelling, transfer from BSE 2nd grade to SMS 8th grade science teacher. Now, ECA recommendations. Pam Berry, BSc Reading Specialist, Dyslexia Coordinator. Amy Craig, BSc Title I Teacher. Denise Newkirk, Maternity Leave for Vanessa Reed, BSc Art, K2. Bev Sweeney, BSc Summer School Substitute. Ashley Gerald, BSc Summer School Substitute. Lori Hazlett, Reach Coordinator. Austin Roberts, transfer from SMS Math Resource to SMS 8th grade U.S. History. Leslie Leash, transfer from BSc to SMS Special Education Teacher. Jessica Morgan, $2,500 Corporation STEAM Coach. John Calhoun, $2,500 SHS STEAM Coach. Lisa Nice, $2,500 SMS STEAM Coach. Emily Johnson, $2,500 BSc STEAM Coach. A lot of movement. A lot of movement. And Allison makes a motion. Ray seconds. All those in favor. Donations. Consider approval of a donation to Brady Strum Elementary for $100 from Jeff and Judy Clem. This donation is to be used for the library book vending machine.
I'll make the motion. Or we for all the donations.
Yeah, we'll do all the yeah. Consider approval of a donation to Salem High School boys golf team for $500 from Abernathy Roofing. Consider approval of a donation to Salem High School from the Army National Guard. They purchased T-shirts for students and staff for the field day event on May 20th. Consider approval of a donation to Salem High School FFA from Swag Team in appreciation of FFA's help selling concessions for the Peters Brothers event. Consider approval of a donation to Salem High School SAD for $1,500 from Washington County Substance Abuse Council. This donation is to be used for the SAD Nationals expenses. Consider approval of a donation to Salem High School Band for $467.50 from the Washington County Community Foundation, Barbara Custer. Consider approval of a donation to Salem Middle School for $50 from the Cheddar Depot. This donation is to be used for the Cubs Carrying Closet. Consider approval of a donation to Salem Middle School for $100 from Eddie Gilstrap Motors. This donation is to be used for the Cubs Carrying Closet as well. Becky White makes the motion. Becky Humphrey seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Something more exciting. Roar Awards.
All right. First Roar Award this evening is for one of my favorites, Chris Mcherrin. So I'll read what was written about Chris. Are you going to come up here, Chris?
Yeah.
That you've either haven't talked me off the ledge or given me an encouragement or taking care of a situation that needed to be addressed with just the utmost kindness. So I appreciate you personally. She was nominated because she works tirelessly with freshmen and sophomores that are struggling in their classes to get them to pass. She often has students doing homework in her office. Anyone who's been in the school has seen that. She completed the waiver and pathway paperwork for the class of 2022. And this has taken several hours. She does a great job with the students that are crying and dealing with drama. I've witnessed this. And she has the patience of Job. I will agree with that. She does all the 504 plans at SHS with Mr. Albert and keeps up with those students' progress. She organizes transitioning from SMS to SHS. She does the tours, line kickoff, parent nights, working with middle school and meeting with students, etc. She's the queen of special ed. She knows special ed forwards and backwards, and by far the go-to person and counselor for special ed issues. She is a supporter and encourager of her students, but also of the teachers and staff. And SHS would not be the strong school it is without her as a counselor, and she is an unsung hero. So, I think you're loved, Chris. So it's 2 pieces. Look at that. So there you go. Oh. Get my glasses off.
Mrs. Mcherrin was actually one of my teachers too, that led me to become the great person that I am. She straightened me right up, so thank you tremendously. She does a lot. She's very caring, and she puts up with Joe, so that's even more. Our next Roar Award our next Roar Award is for boys track regional and state qualifier. So these guys had literally a great run here at the end of high school here. Braden Cummings, Aiden Hacker, Grant Mcherrin, Trevin Smedley. Come on up to Mark here. Trevin Smedley, Hayden Bowman, and Dylan Whitfield. And their coach who led them here. Can you tell us a little bit, Coach, about the records that they broke? And
yeah, so obviously 4 of these guys were part of the 4x1 relay team, and when we started the year, we knew that breaking that record was definitely a goal and something that we set out that was going to be realistic, and something that all 4 of those guys were like, let's go get it. And as the season went on, we broke it the first time, I think maybe our second meet, maybe our first time with all these guys together. You can meet up here. I can grab a mic if you need me to talk louder. Here, I'll talk louder.
oh, they want you in front of the camera there.
Oh,
there you
okay.
go. Get your mic and look at the camera.
Oh, I got to stand right here in front of everybody. Okay, cool. So anyways, these, Aiden, Grant, Trevin, and Braden all worked real hard to break that record the first time, and then it kind of just kept going. I think we broke it 3 times. Finally, at state, ended up finishing, or not state, sectional. Sectional champs running a 43.56, which will be the official school record whenever it gets put up on the board. Trevin broke a couple individual records with the 100 and the 200. Braden also broke an individual record with the 110 high hurdles. And these guys also broke the 4x2 record at Clarksville Relays. And the special thing about that one was the one and only time we got to run that race all year. So they had one shot at it, and we nailed it. And so all those guys worked really hard. Dylan wasn't a part of the relay, but Dylan worked real hard in hurdles, improved a bunch, and actually qualified for regional in the 110 high hurdles as well. So really proud of his effort, as well as everybody's support throughout the year, cheering these guys on, and all the support, and appreciate the school board for having us tonight to honor these guys as well. It was just a really awesome and special season for these guys all the way through, and to get to state as well. So.
Can you get a picture there?
Can you go down there behind Ray?
Yeah, that'd be right here. Just stand right here.
Josh, you might want to get in front.
All right, our next 2 Roar Awards go to our girls track regional qualifiers. Laney Roberts in the 1600 meter and Sydney Brown in the 400 meter. Josh,
You want me to talk about them? I can talk about them.
Yes.
Go to the middle.
Gonna be on TV soon.
I got to be on TV soon. Okay, I'll speak for the girls as well. Sydney obviously qualified in the 400, and Laney qualified in the mile. Both of them worked really, really hard and improved actually from their sectional times to their regional times. Sid, I think, finished 9th, so just out of placing at regional, which is a huge accomplishment. And so both of them ran really well. I know Laney also ran her season best at sectional. So they both put in a ton of work to get there and just had great seasons. And I know even the boys team is very proud of them as well. So congratulations to these two for a great season. Yeah, you're the girls'
Chris, do you have anything you want to say?
I am super proud of these guys. Looking forward to next year, right?
Let me get one of those. I got Josh here. Thank you.
Miss Mcherrin, sorry, that's Brent's fault. Brent said Roger coached those two long distance, and you did the other.
I said Roger is the girls' coach.
All right, well, maybe. So that's all the exciting stuff. If you want to leave before we get into the other stuff, sorry, he's about to speak on insurance.
Jason
but
is always excited.
he's always exciting. But if you want to listen, congratulations to all of you. Nice job. Yep. Nice job. Yep.
Well, he had to go to work. He was like, I got to be work at 6:45.
Well, we got comments from the audience. No comments. Okay. Action items. Number 13, consider property casualty insurance renewal with Moore Shepherd.
All right, Jason Bukowski is here. He's our agent for property casualty insurance with Moore Shepherd Insurance. Preliminary conversations real. We have had more injury experience this past year than the previous couple of years. Jason believes our renewal rate will be in the range of $170,000, which is approximately where we were tracking prior to the pandemic. The past couple of years were a little less. 1 year renewed for $140,000 and change. However, as with everything else, costs are going up, and we may experience the consequence of inflation and market trends for the remainder of 22 and well into 2023. So, Jason.
Good evening. I did not run track in high school, and if I had, I wouldn't get any awards. Thank you for the summary. Dr. Thurston and I have met several times in our pre-renewal work in the previous months leading up to this renewal date. And so we always want to make ourselves available to you. It's one of your largest expenses on your books throughout the course of the year. We want to kind of give you an idea of what's happening in the marketplace and how that's affecting Salem schools. And again, make ourselves available to question or comments from you, certainly. So I'll dig a little bit deeper, if that's okay, in that if you compare our premiums year over year, we're up 19%. It's a little bit unfair to do that. For those of you who were here last year, if you remember, we were down 15% last year. And that was really driven by our workers' comp mod. A work comp mod is a score or a letter grade that's handed down from the State Work Comp Bureau. It has nothing to do with Shepherd or the carrier. It really is your scorecard. Your mod was the best in our agency last year. Congratulations. And it's up 17 points this year. It's still terrific. That's just how good it was last year. And so from a premium perspective, we really benefited on our expenses from that. And so if you look at that 19% increase, a majority of that increase is our workers' comp and what I would describe as a self-correction. A 1.00 work comp mod is considered average. Yours is 0.79. You're still 21 points better than average. It's still very good. Okay. The other two stresses that we're seeing right now, cyber liability. Very quickly, our school corporations had to utilize technology, and you sped that up maybe than what you normally would have had the pandemic not hit. Unfortunately, what we've seen are opportunities now, higher frequency and severity of claims related to cyber liability. It's one of the first things that we did when we started working with you 5 years ago was add that coverage, and it is as important today as it's ever been. But a little bit of that increase is also on the cyber liability, which is under stress, which will continue to be under stress. It's going to be under stress forever, I think, as these things get more complicated. The last piece that's important here, the commodities market related to building supply, cost of building materials, the availability and the cost of labor. Suddenly, in an 18-month period, most of the customers in our office were possibly underinsured on their building values because the increase in the cost of repairs were unprecedented over the last 18 months. This corrects that as well. You are purchasing $10 million more building coverage in this proposal compared to last year as well. We work very hard with the carrier. We plug in all the information on all of your buildings. We have all that information. We run that through a calculator, which gives us an estimation. So we write this property on a blanket. And a blanket is it's a fancy insurance word for comfort. If we're underinsured in one area, it allows us to pull from another. And so the blanket certainly helps us here. But $10 million more was the estimate when we did our, again, pre-renewal work on the building values here. So again, fancy talk to say unfair to compare me to last year, but we really are in a very different place than where we were in 2021. At 173,457, we wanted to provide all of those renewal proposals to you late last week. I hope you received them and were able to go through them. That's still about $6,000 less than your expiring premium in 2016 when we started working. We want to stay under that as long as we can, just to give you an idea of where you're at. Okay. Do any of you have any questions or concerns tonight?
We do recommend approval of this.
Can I mention one other thing? I'm sorry. Sure. In this proposal, for those of you that might be new to the board, we insure a lot of schools in our agency all over the state. And one thing that we do is we don't charge any commission on the insurance products themselves, and instead charge an agency fee. That's, if you look at the premium summary page, that's what that means. Our agency fee has never changed since we started working together in 2017. We don't anticipate that it needs to. So just in case you saw that and wondered why that looked the way it did, it's because you're not paying any commission on your other lines of business.
You said vote on it?
Yeah, Becky makes the motion. Ray seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. And I think, speak on that behalf, Jason, you've done a good job since I've been on the board here, but your agency fee would be less than if you were making commission on that.
For sure.
Yeah, so just for people to understand, yeah.
If you took the average,
Yeah,
industry
yeah,
average.
yeah, it would be, yeah.
But we do that, again, we're only in Seymour. We insure a lot of your school corporation friends and neighbors. That's the direction that we've chosen to go there.
Yeah, the updates on our buildings, and as we acquire the 2 safe rooms and whatnot too, with the blanket allows for some coverage as well. Right. And .77 is a great mod for work comp, so people's watching what they're doing. So yeah. We appreciate you coming down.
Appreciate all you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, I apologize from comments from the audience. We had an opportunity. Gene Down was hired as the band teacher today, and you're here. I wasn't looking around. We were a little bit fuller, so congratulations. And would you like to say anything?
Just thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm very excited about it.
Good.
Thank you.
Yep, no worries. Sorry about that. I didn't address you. We had a bunch of people sitting there at that time. Consider approval of affidavit for payment.
The Indiana State Board of Accounts recommends the school board approve affidavits for payments prior to submission to U.S. Bank in Louisville. This affidavit for payment will be paid from the 2021 lease financing for the FEMA Safe Room construction working pertaining to this bond. These payments are to Cutter Construction for $305,083.95 for the high school project, with $16,057.05 to be held in escrow, and $107,212.25 for the middle school project, with $5,642.76 to be held in escrow. We recommend approval.
Mark makes the motion. Becky seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Consider approval of the BSC book rental fees for the 2022-23 school year. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade. Allison makes the motion. Becky, Humphrey seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Consider approval of the SMS book rental fees for the 22-23 school year, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade in the book rental report. Ray makes that motion. Becky seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Consider approval of the SMS Mathematics Textbook Adoption 2022. Mark makes that motion. Becky White seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Consider approval of the new school board policies.
In the May board meeting, we presented them for the first reading. These are the second readings of the policies. As with what we normally do, we read the first line of the first one and the last line of the last one. So in policy 412008, employment of personnel for extracurricular activities. The school board may find it necessary to employ on a part-time basis coaches or activity sponsors who are not members of the professional staff. Such part-time employees may be members of the corporations, classified staff, support staff, or individuals from the community or nearby areas. Moving all the way to the last policy, 8600 transportation, with the last line, if a school bus driver must load or unload an elementary school student at a location that requires a student to cross a roadway, that is a U.S. route or a state route, the superintendent shall present the school bus route to the board for approval. We recommend the board approve these policies.
Also makes a motion. Ray seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Consider approval of declaring 3 buses useless and obsolete.
We have 3 school buses needing declared useless and obsolete. These are an S4 2004 66 passenger, 160,253 miles. It's a Bluebird International. S6 2004 bus, 66 passenger with 101,156 miles, which is also a Bluebird International. And then S16, a 2004 66 passenger, 137,257 miles, which is a Bluebird International. According to Mark Coombs, the time and cost to get these units ready for inspection is prohibitive. We currently have an additional 3 to 4 spare buses besides these that are in service and will be ready for the inspection. He feels we should attempt to bid these 3 out. Recommend approval.
I'll make the motion.
Becky White makes a motion. Becky Humphrey seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Number 21, I'm going to do 20 and 21 together. They're both overnight field trips for the FFA to Whitley County for the state dairy contest on 6-2 through 6-3. Consider approval of overnight field trip for the FFA to Indianapolis for FFA convention 6-13 through 6-15 with Mr. Purley. Allison makes a motion. Ray seconds. All those in favor. 22, consider acquisition of Chromebooks for 22 through 26. Aaron?
Aaron's here to speak on the Chromebooks.
Okay, so this year, this summer, the high school's lease on their Chromebook expires. So we'll have to send back the high school's Chromebooks, and we'll need to purchase so that our high school kids can continue using Chromebooks in their education. Brent had money in ESSER that we could use to purchase this next round of Chromebooks for the high school, meaning that we would be able to drop that $50 book rental fee for the Chromebook off of their book rental from 22 to 26. We estimated approximately 575 Chromebooks based on current projected enrollment for 22-23, which comes out to just under $146,000 for the devices themselves. And we used a vendor who's on the state QPA, so we got the best price possible for those. And then we also have the Google licenses that we have to purchase in order to make those run on the Google admin system so we can do all the back-end stuff with them. So we're looking for approval to go ahead and use the funds to purchase those so that we can get them in before August.
If you approve it tonight, we will have those ordered tomorrow.
Yep, the PO will go in tomorrow.
This is good, yeah.
Becky White makes the motion. Allison
just,
seconds.
Let's get on that.
Just an update for next year when we have to purchase additional Chromebooks for the elementary to replace some that will be going out of service. We'll be using the E-rate Emergency Connectivity Fund money. So next year's will have zero out-of-pocket cost for the school.
Purchase possibly tomorrow. Okay, so we have them for this year in
Mm-hmm.
usage. Then how long will we have will those be ours then, or do we have to send those back? Or?
Those will be ours.
Okay.
This is the last batch of leased Chromebooks.
Okay.
So all of them that we have now are owned by us.
And approximately how long do you think that we'll be able to use those? I mean, like, do you get 5 years usually out of
They have a
them?
4-year lifespan, typically, and the 5th year they could be a loaner device or be used in other circumstances. But batteries, motherboards, they all have about a 4-year.
Do they
run.
ever, like, can you sell them back to them for like refurbished or anything like
We
that?
can. We can attempt to do that with ones that we don't think we'll need for parts or loaner devices or filling in some gaps in some other grade levels where we might need them.
Awesome.
But they'll be ours, so we can do with them what we want.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Aaron. We have a motion already. Becky makes a motion. Allison seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Consider approval of an SMS cheer fundraiser, SHS cheer fundraiser, SHS cheer fundraiser. They're having 2 fundraisers at the SHS.
Yeah, 3 different fundraisers.
3 different fundraisers.
They need
Becky,
money.
yeah, give money if you got it. Becky makes a motion.
Second it.
Becky seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
Becky Humphrey, you make the motion.
Becky Humphrey, Becky White, second. Yep. Consider approval of the return to in-person instruction for 22-23.
So with the requirement from the state is that we have to look at our return to in-person instruction plan every 6 months. And we are due actually June 24th. So the plan that we have right now is essentially the same plan we had before, just a few changes in wording, but otherwise it's essentially the same plan. We plan to be at school. We will not be wearing masks unless we are required to, and I think in the past if it said recommended, we change it to required. Other than that, it's essentially the same plan.
I'll make a motion.
Allison makes the motion. Ray seconds. You just got to say it over. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Consider approval of school meal pricing for the 22-23 school year. Karen? Yeah.
Unfortunately, Congress did not extend the meal waivers that we've been operating on for the past 2 years. So that means free lunches across the nation go away. Now, the elementary, if you remember 2 years ago, I came and we were able to get Brady Shrum Elementary as a CEP school, which means we do not charge prices at a CEP school. We have a large enough percentage of students that either they or someone in their household either has a SNAP benefit, a TANF benefit, they're a foster child, or they're homeless. So if you fall into one of those categories, they look at that percentage. And we qualified and were able to get Brady Shrum on before these nationwide waivers even came into effect. This time last year, we brought on the middle school and high school by lumping all our schools, by using the good Brady Shrum Elementary numbers. We lumped everybody in just for the fact we already knew meals were going to be free nationwide. They had already told us in April. So we lumped all 3 schools together so that everybody could get any pandemic benefits that was issued during that school year. It wasn't going to cost us anything in money. It didn't matter what our percentages were. We just wanted every student at all 3 schools to get the same benefits. So that's why we lumped them together and did that. But the percentage, by keeping us lumped together, means that almost 1/3 of our meals we will not get reimbursed for. So if we keep the middle school and high school on the CEP program, we'll only get reimbursement from the government from about 67-68% of our meals. And there's no good way to run good numbers net right now because they're not telling us anything. We don't know what our reimbursement rate's going to be. I already know my bread prices are doubled for next year. I already know, on average, the food costs have already jumped 14%. We no longer get firm bid pricing for 6 months like we have in the 21 years I've been here. We've always gotten pricing for at least 6 months, if not a year. They've taken that. The companies are like, we can't promise anything. In 4 months, we're going to raise your prices. And in 4 months, we're going to raise them again. So we're not getting any firm long-term bids right now on food. And you all know from going to the grocery store, it's not a pretty picture. And the supply chain, we're being told it's still going to be at least another year before the supply chain eases up for food for us. So with the waivers gone, what we're looking at is keeping the elementary on CEP. So all elementary students will still eat for free, but we'll have to go back to our normal pricing at the middle school and high school. Parents can fill out if their child is not directly certified. If they're directly certified, they'll get a letter from us like they always have in the past that says your student is already approved for free meals. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to fill out an application. But if they don't get that letter, they can still receive free meals or reduce eligibility by filling out an application. So they can still get those free meals that way, but not by the nationwide waiver anymore. One thing we did, I don't have the letter that I wrote to you all, but I think it was the end of 2018, we took away that 40-cent charge that we charge at lunch for our reduced students and the 30-cent charge that we charge at breakfast for our reduced students. We took that charge away, and I would like to go back to that and continue that we do not pick that back up, that if you qualify for free or reduced, your eligibility may be reduced, but you will not be charged anything. So you will, if you qualify for free reduced, you will still receive free meals. So going back to now, we have to submit what our prices are to USDA. What are we charging? And so we had not raised prices in 6 to 7 years on those. So I'm just proposing, based on what they want me to do, a 10-cent price increase. So at the elementary, we'll go up middle school will go from $2.30 to $2.40, and high school will go from $2.50 to $2.60. Elementary, everyone, they will not need to fill out a meal application at the elementary. So that's what we're looking at next year. If there's any hope on the horizon, there are a couple of proposals being looked at by Congress, so it would be wonderful if I could come back next month and say, forget everything I said, all's good. I talked to Trey Hollingsworth for a little bit. I met with a representative from Mike Braun's office who was at City Hall today. We sat down and talked for an hour, and I explained of the programs, what the future for school food service looks like, because our costs have just skyrocketed. And because part of that waiver was they were giving us more in reimbursement, and they're not going to do that anymore either. So our reimbursement, there's almost $1 difference in what the regular reimbursement is and what the special reimbursement that they've been giving us. So we know we're losing money in reimbursement. We know our prices are going up, and that creates a problem for students and children and families. So I talked to him for about an hour. The problem with the CEP program is the multiplier. So you can qualify. The way it works is they look, once you're at least 40%, you qualify for the program. But if your school is at 40%, they say, okay, 40% times 1.6. They have a multiplier, 1.6. That's a nationwide thing. So if you qualify at 40%, you're going to get reimbursed for 60% of your meals. Well, who can afford to do that? So one of the proposals is, why do we have this program telling schools, you qualify for this great, wonderful program we have, but you're going to lose a lot of money if you do it. And that money cannot come from the school lunch program. So even if we have extra money in the school lunch program, that cannot make up the money that we lose in CEP dollars. So there's a proposal to change that multiplier so that it doesn't punish the schools that qualify but don't qualify by a lot. So because right now, if you're not at 60% direct cert, and we're a long way from that, if you're not at 60%, you don't get 100% reimbursement. So our elementary is not at that, but I feel like our elementary is high enough. We're at almost 80%. We're 79 point something at the elementary. So I feel like between procurement and savings, I feel like we can hang on at the elementary. But at the middle school and high school, it would be a big deficit, and that money cannot come from school lunch. I mean, we wouldn't have enough to cover it for the whole year anyway, but they wouldn't even let us cover it for a month. It's just one of those government federal rules. So that is where we're at, I'm sorry to say.
We initially talked about that like 3 years ago. We knew that it was going to cost money to go on that program. Initially, I think you'd reached out to one school and it was like $60,000 for them to, yeah. And then COVID came and
I know. And then,
you had
right. So at the elementary, that first year we came back, when we were out in March, when we came back in August, the elementary, everyone was free.
Yeah.
And then the end of August, beginning of September is when they announced those waivers, like, oh, everybody's going to be free. And we actually went back and pulled up every student's account for those weeks in September and all of August that we charged for meals, and we put every single penny back in every single account. So we ended up, we haven't charged anything the last 2 years for student meals. No student was charged. But all those waivers unfortunately are gone. But there's hope, and I'm hanging on to it. But
did he seem hopeful when you met with him today?
well, he really he was taking a lot of notes because he didn't even know what CEP was. Because to me, CEP is a good compromiser. Do I think the whole world should be free for the rest of our lives? I'm a conservative. I'm never going to probably go along with that. But because I don't think the Carmel, Indianas of the world need to be on CEP or have free meals for the rest of their life. The director there will tell you, my kids show up every single day with $100 bills in their pockets. They don't need free meals for every student there. But I said, look at your community. If you have a community that qualifies for the program, at least 40% of their students, and at the elementary, it's almost 50% of their students qualify for some type of government assistance, or they're homeless, or they're a foster student. What do you think that says about the rest of the community? We're not showing up with $100 bills in our pockets here. So, I said that's a good compromiser, because you take those most vulnerable communities that are on the edge, change that multiplier so that we don't have to lose thousands and thousands of dollars by doing a program that we qualify for, but we can't do because we can't afford it. The high school doesn't even qualify for it. The reason we were able to get them on last year is because we lumped everybody together, which brought that elementary number down, because then it averages. So in order to get the elementary number back up, you've got to take the schools that are bringing that number down off. So he was taking lots of notes. He's like, yeah, this makes sense. To me, this is a good compromise. Help those communities that are hardworking folks, just not making a ton of money. And with gas prices and food costs and everything else, I said, the dollar is stretched even thinner than it's ever been. This is a good time to step in and help those communities. But if the kids are showing up with $100 bills every day at that school, they probably don't need that. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how good it did, but I wanted to know.
No, thank you so much. I mean, above and beyond. I mean, you went to bat for us. I mean, you actually, that was brilliant and wonderful. I mean, that you've got to have that conversation and express, and thank you for your voice and sharing your wisdom and information with him and all of us here. You just explained it to us. We understand now.
And it's in the Senate, so if anyone else would like to contact your senator and ask for their approval, that now would be a good time.
No, you've done a great job, Karen.
You do.
We know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you need a board approval for this? Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Also makes that motion. Becky Humphrey seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. It is a lot of work, and if you remember back 3 years ago, a lot of schools were trying to attract kids by putting out there, we have free lunches, which started the CU program. We reached out, and Karen was like, this is going to cost us money to do that, and then COVID jumped in, and then now we're back to where we were 3 years ago. So a lot of good work there. to help save our kids in our community dollars for lunch. Next is items from staff, and we have some staff members here. Mr. Malloy, he's been out there hiking the west, and no great questions you came.
I just didn't want to let you guys forget that I am still interested in allowing fifth graders to play middle school sports. I've spoken to many of you about that. And plan on meeting with Hank Williams and Jerry Hickey and developing a plan to present to you guys to move forward with that. Let's see if you guys think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
Dwayne, would you bring some clarity to that? Because there was a little bit of confusion, a little bit on some of that, the program you were wanting, or do you want to just wait till next, could you explain what maybe you were?
Yeah, we just, pretty much across the board, allow fifth graders to play middle school sports. And, you know, any sport that is offered by the middle school, then fifth graders would be eligible, both boys and girls. You know, we don't offer some sports at the middle school, such as football, such as baseball and softball. Those are run through the teams themselves or through the team center, or I guess that's not team center anymore, it's run through the school program. But it would be across the board, boys and girls, and you know, we need just to come up with some stipulations and some ways that we want to handle different things that might come into play as far as problems and know how to handle those. So just giving them an opportunity. Our numbers have been down in certain sports, and you know, it would not require any hiring of any ECA coaches. The coaches are already in place. It would just have more numbers, and the principals, they tell me that they support it, and so that's the plan.
I appreciate
Do you have
it.
any specific questions?
I didn't know, I guess I was thinking of more of a feeder program, but I think it was more of a, I guess that was, I had some that reached out to me after last board meeting, they had seen it, and they had said they'd ask some more clarity on it, and I didn't know if it was like the fifth graders try out and possibly could be, and like there might be a sixth grader that might not make it because of a fifth grader.
Well,
That
right
was,
now we
I
have
just,
say basketball for both boys and girls, as well as volleyball. We have a sixth grade A team, the sixth grade B team, and I would like to see the sixth graders play on the sixth grade play sixth grade. The fifth graders would take place of the sixth grade B team, and they would play that game. No fifth graders would play up in the sixth grade, and no sixth graders would play down. We would handle it much the same way, in my opinion, as what we already handle the seventh and eighth grade sports. You know, seventh graders don't play up, eighth graders don't play down.
okay. I just was clarity because there was someone that reached out that said that they took it as that possibly the fifth grader would possibly take one of the sixth graders' seats. Do you know what I'm saying? Like try out, make it more,
So he's saying
make it
yes.
more
See,
competitive.
there would possibly be cuts.
Okay,
At
that's
both fifth grade level and sixth grade level.
okay.
But he's saying he'd rather fifth graders play on the B team, sixth graders play on the A team, if I'm reading you right. And you know, and being the softball coach, we're not part of the school, so I can play fifth graders up with sixth graders if I wanted to, which I had a ton of sixth graders this year that went undefeated. I should have talked about that. They're a great group of sixth graders. We got a great group of sixth graders, but I can play them up. Baseball can do that. Football, fifth graders play with sixth graders and that's not a school program, Dwayne. That's the linebackers program, football. Now it's not a park and rec program anymore. So I think if it's handled properly, and I talked to Hank, talked to Dwayne, and he came talk to you guys when I wasn't here last month. But I think if they come up with a plan, of course we all know in sports there's somebody that's not going to be happy, and so they gotta come up with some rules as to who's going to police this, how's it going to be ran, and so that it's not chaos. But I think it's all schools around us have always had fifth grade teams, as Dwayne told you last month. So I think it's a great opportunity. You guys have any questions of Dwayne while he's here?
Thank you for
Mark,
collaborating.
Ray, you're the old middle school principal, so if you have
a lot of schools play. I shouldn't say. I know some schools play. They have a fourth grade program, fifth grade program separate, and travel and play.
Yeah.
So it's been around for a long time. I know some schools play their fifth graders as a sixth grade B team, or like a sixth grade B team. So that's nothing new. We just haven't done it.
Yep. Chris, Matt, Andrea, Aaron, anything you guys like to say? Matt, we talked. We're going to address and to the teachers here in the community. We talked about what happened in Texas. We're going to go over our plan in July. We're going to meet with all of our building heads, go through. I got some stuff to give each one of you as far as janitors to look at some stuff. We talked about that. We're gonna dissect that and make sure that we're on point and get feedback from everyone. Dr. Rutherford knows coming in July that's going to be our first topic, so that when we go back to school, we know what we're supposed to do, and if we.
I do have a walkthrough coming this Thursday night at 6:30. That's with all the police agencies and the fire department and EMS.
Yep.
We're going to start at 6:30 at our school, then go to the other two schools.
Yep.
Just to put some eyes on the ground and take a look and see what we may miss.
Yep.
We're looking at everything, but they may see some things that we can correct easily or at least propose what we might need. So we're going to look at everything.
Yep.
From everybody's point of view.
Yeah, and that's the key, and some of the stuff you've seen on the news is, what do we learn from this situation? Maybe some protocol isn't what it should be, and of course, when you're in the situation, bullets flying, things change, and but we're going to make sure we're on top of that. The security of our school and our kids is first and utmost important to each and every one of us here. So, anything else, Andrea, Aaron? Mrs. Mcherrin? Nothing else? Okay. There's no non-action items. New board business. Anybody have any new board? I'm going over my notes here for a second to make sure I went over a million things. We talked about the safety plan. We're gonna talk about that, and as Dr. Rutherford will.
Any board members that, obviously I'm going to that
Yep.
Thursday. Any board members that would like to go, you're more than welcome to go and look at it from a different perspective, plus familiarize yourself with the buildings as well.
Yeah, and some of you have seen Dr. Rutherford. He will be starting here in a couple short weeks. He's a Salem resident as of yesterday, so you'll probably see him a lot here pretty soon. Any other new board business? Superintendent's report.
No report.
All right. Brent's set in for Dr. Thurston, who is on vacation with his grandkids and his wife. Mm-hmm. Yep, in Jamaica. Is that
Jamaica.
Jamaica. So he set in.
He said he would be thinking of us as he's sitting on the beach. He'd be thinking about us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I bet we're the first thing.
And it's yeah, yep. And with that, he wanted us, Jana and Dr. Thurston, was kind enough to get a plaque here for Brent. This is his last meeting. 28 years of dedication and service to Salem Community Schools. He'll be going to the Wilson Center down south, which basically services, I'll let you talk about it.
Services 12 counties in the southeastern part of the state, from Washington County, Harrison County, all the way over to Ohio, Dearborn County, Lawrenceburg area, Batesville, Milan, and as far as Jackson County, over Jennings County, are some of the schools that are involved. We work on professional development for schools and procurement for schools. So schools want to order anything, they can go through the Wilson Center. One of those things is a turf field, believe it or not. Believe it or not, they do that procurement for that. And so what that does, it saves the schools from having to go through the bidding process because they've already done it for the schools. But they do other things. They do some of the food stuff that Karen talked about. They do that for some schools. So there's a lot of different things. Paper, we order our paper.
We order a lot from the Wilson Center.
Yeah.
Right now. The teachers order.
So
it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, the Wilson Center's been around for many, many years. And so this is a new venture and looking forward to it.
Yeah. Brent also was one of my football coaches when I played in high school.
He did it again. Something about this. I just don't get it.
So a lot of these people, help me be the person I am. So if I'm not very good, you can talk to me.
Yeah. That's right.
But
wait a minute. He was also the first person I hired as middle school principal.
That is correct.
Yeah.
The very first person.
Yeah. It's 28 years is is a long time to be anywhere in this day and age. And for the last 3 years I've been on the board, you've helped out with COVID. Anytime I need to text it, when we're about to cancel school or mask or all of that stuff we've been through for the last 2 years, Brent's been a part of that. And thank you.
And driving the roads in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Texting,
you don't have to do that anymore.
Texting at 5 a.m. or at 9 at
That's
night
right.
saying, do we put this out at 4 in the morning to let people go ahead and know it? So all that stuff Brent's been a part of. And Jana, would you like to say anything? Because I know you've worked hand in hand with him.
Miss him. We're going to miss his knowledge and wish him the best.
I told her I'm still a phone call away.
Yeah. And the rest of you?
I just want to say he's been fantastic to work with, and I know that if you need something, you call Brent and he'll meet you over real quick or whatever he needs to do. And I thank you for all that you've done for, I know personally, and school board and everything from events, everything that we've had. You've been right on top of everything. So
thank you.
Wish you the best.
Thanks
for all you've done.
Best wishes, and we'll see you around.
Yeah, I'll still be around. Don't worry, I'm not
I'll
moving.
see you around.
I'm still here.
You want to get
A picture, I
Yeah.
guess.
With you and Rodney here with the flag in front of the line.
And you can say something about
Jana
I'll let you guys do it.
Jana, she did all the dirty work. I'm getting the plaque.
All right, thank you.
Stay right
guys.
there.
Thank you.
Yep. We appreciate everything he's done. So next month we'll have a couple new people in our seat. Dr. Thurston will be here. Dr. Rutherford will be here as well. Positive praises. Who wants to start the positive praises? Come on. There you go, Becky. Becky, start.
I just want to give my positive praise to Zach George, the strength and conditioning coach. This little guy, he has got so much going on right now. I think he's working with girls and boys basketball, football, volleyball, and now cheerleading, which is good. And they are in there from, I think, 7 a.m. to at least 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then I think sometimes he comes back in the evening too. So he's doing a lot for our kids, and physically and as well mentally too. So I just wanted to give him a little shout out that we appreciate all he does, and we're glad that he's here. So.
Well, if you think about it, we broke some state records in running, and we just hired that guy a year ago. So he's always tweeting that out about those guys speeding around that track. So.
Well, and I think his last post was, I think he's gained 50 kids since last year at this time.
Yeah.
So it's definitely doing what we wanted it to.
I think the kids like him. A lot. So that's been a huge.
Yeah.
I don't have much. I guess I would say I would commend the high school administration for the graduation. Everything went smoothly without any issues. And also congratulations to Brent on his new position. I know he'll do a fine job. At least I told people that he'd do a good job. So he better not let me down on that. So that's basically that.
One thing I had just was about graduation as well. I just thought it was such a hard, good day in so many ways, and I thought that the way that y'all planned it and executed and honored Connor and acknowledged, I just thought it was a beautiful, like I said, it was a hard, good day, but I thought y'all did an excellent job at the high school of coordinating that and doing that. All the end of the year programs, there was a lot of them that I wasn't able to be at, but seeing all the hard work that comes together in so many ways and seeing that acknowledged, just a lot of things that made me proud. Got to go to regionals and watch the boys run, and just the excitement for them. It was just super fun, and I was so, I'm a little, Josh is my boy, so I call him Joshy. But just seeing, seeing him kind of develop these kids and working with them over the last several years, and kind of his encouragement and pulling them along, it's been fun to see, and I'm thrilled for him, and what he will continue to do, and especially like working with Zach and I'm just
Mallory.
and Mallory. Yes, and Mallory. Gosh, Mallory's the best. But just I'm excited to see what he does with the program and hope it continues to do well.
I'd have to piggyback on the graduation. I thought our seniors, I think it was different seasons in their life, and this was a season for them to rejoice. And it was happy to see smiles and rejoicing in accomplishment. And they all have been through a lot this year. And it was just a day. It was a season that day to rejoice and to fellowship and to have a good time. So graduation I felt was very good, and it was shorter. It was very well played. I had a lot of people say they really liked it. Kind of got in there and got it done, and that was good. Also, I want to thank our facilities. The fair is coming up this weekend, and we are so blessed that we have the middle school and the elementary school in use. And hats off that we have such beautiful facilities that will let others use it. I mean, I feel like when you're given a gift, you're supposed to share it and use it, and I feel like that's such a blessing that for like the queen contest, the teen contest, the baby contest, you can have climate control, which is important, keeping cool babies and cool teens and queens. And I mean, it's such a blessing that we have such a beautiful facility, and that we utilize it and use it. And of course, our safe rooms, we know that we have those available too and stuff. And they're coming along. Our construction looks wonderful. I was driving by today. I had a grandson, and he's little, and I said, "Oh, look at that construction," and he goes, "That's the safe room, don't you know?" And I said, "Yeah, I do, kind of, sort of do." So anyway, so I'm happy about that, and he's there. I mean, it's cool that he knew that was going on, so that's cool. All right, I do have some cards that Jana gave me that were sent this week or sent in. Thank you so much for the beautiful wreath you sent for my mother. Your thoughtfulness means so much. Norma Granlund, okay. Also, my dear friends, thank you so much for the beautiful planter and rocking chair. What a true joy it has been to serve Salem Community School System and become a part of the Salem family. May God bless you all and serve Him by serving others. Sincerely, Melissa Sears. Okay, and dear Salem School Administration and Board, thank you so much for the thoughtfulness at my father's passing. The planter is beautiful and the wind chimes are quite appropriate. My dad loved our school. Even after he retired, he kept coming back to the classroom and sports fields. He could not seem to get enough. It was the home away from home, and you all keep taking him back, which we always took him back. Thank you for having him all those years. When I see any part of our school, I think of him. Grace and peace with you all, and that is Tom and Kim Cyphers, Anthony and Sadie, and Brittany and
Ismail
and Brittany. Okay.
Bringing up Mr. Cyphers, we hate to see that happen. Paul was always at the softball field, and he'd stand behind our fence there for like 2 innings, and he'd disappear. And when Dwayne 2 years ago said he wasn't going to be the head coach, and said you got to be the head coach now, so I took over and I asked Paul, I said, what do you want to do? And food bank's what he came up with, so we did a food bank deal. And this year he came. It was a little bit cold, and I told him, so he comes out on the field and he always tells Alex Davison, "You're the best player. She's the best player ever played." And I'm like, "Man, don't say that." And he goes, "No, she is. She's the best player ever played." So he says that stuff, and then he wanders around and whatnot. And I told Terry Backhurst, my other coach, I said, "Go tell him to stay. We need to get a picture." Well, he didn't stay. He left before the game was over. But he got his truck bed full and took off. So we hated to see the loss of him. He was a great supporter to all of us. So positive praise all the teachers that we hired. We've hired some great new people here, and we've moved some people around that are great new people. So the choir, I went to the end. You talked about the end of the year deal, and I went, and I didn't know Maddie Ball, but when I went there and she got up there with the guitar, I was like, holy cow, this kid's good. She's really good, So now I would listen to her on the radio. She's really good, so that was a positive praise. Mallory this morning sends us a message. I'm a coach and we do summer stuff, and she sends us a message today at here's the heat and here's the policy. So those people like Zach George, who writes our strength and conditioning stuff for the summer, I mean, we have great people here doing great things. So it's a great time to be in Salem. And then keep the two that are sick. And are they both in band, Gene? That have cancer now.
Miss Hobbs and Mr. Jordan.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
She came to rehearsal this morning.
Did she?
She still wants to try to be a part.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we're thinking of them. Yep. Anything we can do. I've been praying for them ever since I heard that and seen that. So if there's anything we can do as a school.
And there's a GoFundMe for her as well.
Okay. Yeah.
When is Elijah's? Because isn't he going to have surgery soon?
Elijah's is, do you know?
Yeah, Elijah.
Amos. Yeah.
Surgery coming up.
Yeah.
I think he had surgery with the 6th grade.
Gotcha.
They said it's been away for a long time, right?
Yeah. So we're thinking of them tremendously. Can't imagine that. And, graduation was great and very heartfelt. Mark?
Mr. Bartron and Mr. Dunaway advanced to, is it nationals or world?
Nationals, I think.
So they've advanced to that, so congratulations to those two in the fishing. The STEAM program has done a lot of, I know there's a lot of, everybody thinks there's just a lot of sporting events and extracurricular stuff, but there's a lot of educational stuff that's going on. And I know the STEAM, Miss Morgan is trying to develop the STEAM program a lot. In my household, my daughter went to Spring Mill, they went to Holiday World, and they toured not all the bridges, good grief, there's probably 300 bridges in Washington County, but went to several bridges and learned about the engineering of that. So it's nice to, get into that and appreciate all the staff that does all the extracurricular things and the educational things in the summertime. It's greatly appreciated, and that's just going to advance our school system even more.
And I believe they were at Lake Celinda today, is that correct?
They were, yeah.
Yeah, is it 3 groups?
There's
6th,
several
7th, and 8th?
groups, yeah.
Yep.
They've been going on, ever since school's been
Yeah.
out, they've been going somewhere every day.
Yeah. Definitely keeps them interested during the summertime.
Yeah.
In reviewing the notes for the meeting, I saw that Blair Winslow's leaving, and there are a lot of people throughout our school system over the years that have contributed a lot, are behind the scenes. Nobody really sees them ever. Blair, when I was a kid, Blair was an even smaller kid, and I knew him since he was little, and he's maybe littler now than he was as a kid. But Blair is an extremely talented human being, and I think we've been fortunate to have him. Everybody knows Richard Trueblood was around forever. Richard was around when I was a kid, and when I was in high school, I was in band, and I kind of grew up in that culture. But Blair Winslow is an accomplished drummer. He's an accomplished guitarist, and I still remember a year or two ago, if you're friends with him, he'll post on social media guitar solos that he does. And he did a guitar solo a couple years ago of Journey, and Journey's guitarist picked up on it and wrote him a note telling him how good it was, and Blair pretty much said he was going to hang it up at that point. So Neil Sean from Journey actually reached out to Blair and told him how good he was. So I think that's pretty cool, and I just want to thank Blair for all he's done for the band over these years. It's really good when I moved back to see him affiliated with the band. And finally, I didn't know my handwriting was that bad. You read everybody else's notes just fine, and I took time to write nicely. But my dad loved our school. He just did. And I remember as a kid coming over to school all the time, and I got the benefit of hanging out in the gym. You know, he was a math teacher, he was an athletic director, and he'd, in the summertime he'd come over. He worked every day in the summer. He typed up contracts with other schools and with referees or whatever he did. I don't know. Back when you had a typewriter, And I'd be over here, and then, you know, through the years, I came to appreciate people like Ray Opal and my dad and these old gray men that keep coming back to the school with no pay and just volunteering their time to time events. Or Ray just likes to shoot guns. I've known that since I was a kid. He's been the starter guy forever. And before the NBA players started wearing one-arm sleeves, Ray had one with a gun in it, and he kind of started that trend, I'm pretty sure. But my dad loved track and field, and he was a kid that grew up in Little York, and he wasn't allowed to participate in sports. So when he got older, that's how he did it, was through the administration. And he started running later in life and became kind of a pretty good runner. A lot of you probably saw him out running around town, but I appreciate the support that the community's given my family, that the school has through this process, so thank you.
I'll say he will be missed at track meets. 60 years, I think he thought he worked at track meets and cross-country meets.
He told me 59.
Okay, that's pretty close to 60. And I could always count on him.
He was always a timer, and always to count on him doing the brake line when they run the first turn. I'd always count on him being over there to judge that for us and then coming back to the finish line. So, yeah, I'll miss him. I do miss him. So.
Final statements from you, Brent, your last meeting.
No, I'm done. That's it. I'm done.
He's done. He's done. Well, you brought up Richard, and we've not replaced Richard yet. And just to be open, we waited until Richard's ceremonies had taken place out of respect for Richard, and as long as he's been here and whatnot. So we started that discussion, and there'll be more to come on that as far as replacing that position, which would just go until the December end of this year as well. So there'll be more information to come in July on that. With that, anybody has anything else? Our next monthly meeting will be July the 11th, 2022. Should be the same place, same time. Motion to adjourn. Becky makes that motion. Becky seconds it. All those in favor?